Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for listening to From the Gate Podcast, where we bring you game, good times, and genuine conversation. I'm Lisi.
Shush.
Let's get it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for listening to From the Gate Podcast. And today we are breaking down, well, not breaking down, but we're going to be talking about something that we all, well, I guess we all come to America for. The American dream. The ideal life of an American. So I don't know if I know me growing up back home, it was always like you see the American dream as like having the home, the white picket fence, all of that. And so the American dream concept is you work hard and it leads to you moving up in society, owning a home, all that jazz, which absolutely is possible for a lot of people, but it's become a lot more elusive now than it was back then. And so, what is it that a lot of people are saying, like, oh, the American dream is not as achievable as it once was? Why is it so hard for some people to get a home and all this jazz? And so a lot of people say it's because of like things like inflation, stagnant wages, where cost of living is going up, but wages are staying the same. Wealth inequality, like things that are not equally divvied up. And so, and even the housing market, where it's almost as if like they just price it how they want to price it. There's not really a full, they're starting to work on like having a gauge for the housing market, but what do we need to do in order to create more affordable housing? And so all of this has even led to there being the creation of the side hustle trap. where, where because wages aren't enough, because cost of living is going up and wages are not rising to match any of that, and even taxes going up also. So what is it that most people do in order to help balance out their lifestyle and being able to make more money? It's like it's almost as if it's one of those things where most people are living paycheck to paycheck and can't even afford to do things that they would want to do. Hence the side hustle. But it seems like the more side hustles that they do, like Uber drivers or Uber or Lyft drivers, Door Dashers, Instacart shoppers, all these things. There's all these side hustles. There's additional ways to make money, but they're not getting rich off of it or not even making a comfortable living off of it. And why is that? And so a lot of side hustles, they're more so necessary for people, but not so much a way to like get rich. And so the rise of the gig economy has allowed for a lot of people to take on side hustles in order to supplement their income, because job market too, it's really hard to get like a part-time job on top of having a full-time job already. And so a lot of companies are not really wanting to hire part-time workers, because then it's just a lot more headache on their end administrative wise. And so the gig economy has grown because it allows for people to have financial support, but the problem is it lacks stability, it lacks benefits, it doesn't lead to any type of wealth or financial accumulation. Most of them have main jobs, and the gigs are just to make ends meet. It's just to kind of make a way to pay, or it's another way to help pay bills that continue to keep on growing. And so how do people get out of this trap? How do we get into this trap? What are ways that we can make side hustles to be something that's not just something that is, because it can be exhausting and the reward is not always met, or the amount of work that you put in is not always met with a great reward for the most part. And so because of the decrease of the American dream, or the evolution, I guess, of the American dream, originally I wanted to call this the death of the American dream. But I felt like maybe that's a little bit morbid. I don't know. But just the whole concept of the American dream and being able to have all of that. It takes a village. It's not something that you can really do on your own anymore. You literally need help from A, B, C, and D, whether it's mom or dad or your family members like cousins or siblings or whatever. Like it takes everybody together in order to help a single person being able to achieve that American dream concept that we all grow up seeing in the movies or grow up hearing about or grow up seeing other people have. And so when it comes to the American dream, hard work, there's a lot of people who do work extremely hard that I see, but I don't see them getting the payout from it that they deserve. And I don't know if it's because, not I don't know, but it definitely is like there's some people that work really, really hard for like $16 an hour and they're not getting that same reward of being able to pay their bills or being able to live comfortably or being able to live a, a sufficient life, a life that they enjoy living, not where they look like a robot that's like, oh, I gotta go work here. Oh, then I gotta go do work over here. Oh, I gotta go work over here. And then by the time they get home, they're so exhausted. It's like, get up the next day to just work, 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 work again. And then not only that, there's a lot of like senior citizens that I see like either they're doing Uber or they're doing Lyft and then talking to them it's like, well, I don't make enough off of my social security or my retirement in order for me to live comfortably and just kind of enjoy the rest of my retirement after working for X amount of years for this company or after working X amount of years for this organization. And it just kind of begs to question what is it that needs to change. And I understand like economic policies and it requires like comprehensive interventions, policy interventions for in order to see those kinds of changes that need to be made so that way grandma and grandpa don't have to be working a side job in order to make ends meet or mom and dad don't even be working a side job in order to make ends meet or have to go do things under the table in order to make ends meet. What are some challenges? How do we find solutions to these challenges? What is it that we can do together as a community in order to help the next person build up their business or build up their line of work or build up their dream? Because dreams are not just built on just a single person. It takes a whole crew. It's not just something that can be done overnight either. So what is it that we can do in order to provide this equitable economic growth and improve access to affordable housing? And I know a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, that's the government's job. That's what the government is supposed to do. We pay taxes to them and they're supposed to be looking out for us." Okay, but government as big brother is not always like there's millions and millions and millions of Americans that live here in the US. We're just literally another social security number to them. But what is it that we can do as community members, as people wanting to help other people in order to help each other achieve the American dream instead of it being a rat race to where it's like, no, I need to succeed first. No, I need to succeed in this first. No, I need to do this first. What is it that we can do as a collective in order to help everyone achieve this American dream? Because, yes, it's fine and dandy to be able to talk about it on the government forefront and to support your senators, congressmen, representatives that are in places that where they can discuss these policies and implement these policies. But what use is a policy being implemented if people don't know how to use the tools or if we're not being made aware of the tools? Because I can tell you right now, I don't know of any real tools that are available in order to help with building a small business from ground up, helping to find a job, helping with like interview processes. Like there's you have to literally go find tooth and nail, and then a lot of them are like, oh well, we'll do Zoom meetings in order to like help you find an advisor for this. It's like, fuck your Zoom, I want to see someone in person. Like we don't live in the time of COVID anymore. We're back to being able to be in person because just my personal opinion, Zoom, not just Zoom, okay, but like Google Meets, Zoom, whatever digital virtual way of interviewing and meeting, it does not have the same value as face value. Being able to be in person and to be able to have that human interaction, that is what I feel, that's what makes it more effective. Because when it's so easy to just be on like a video call or whatever, and then to tone out whenever you want to tone out, because you can't really see any verbal gestures or anything like that. And then it just becomes this. You know what I mean? It just becomes this very like disconnected. I feel like a lot of this like virtual stuff that is being implemented, it disconnects society in a lot of ways, because it takes away
1000%.
the human. It takes away the human effect.
Wow.
And it's like all these things are like, oh, just apply online. Oh, just get on the computer and do this. Well, what if I don't even know how to use a freaking computer? Are you going to have classes that are going to teach me how to use it to the best of my ability? Or now there's so many options that are on the computers. It's all like, oh, you have option A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But A, B, C, D, E, F, G also has H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P trying to apply for A alone. And then B has H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P applying for B also. And so they get, just because we have a lot of options doesn't mean that the companies or whatever it is doesn't have a lot of their options. They also have a lot of options, because it's like, I was looking at LinkedIn, and the job that I was applying for on LinkedIn, it tells you 100 applicants, more than 100 applicants, 200 applicants. And so it's like, it's letting you know, like, hey, you think you're special? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. And so it's just kind of one of those things where the humanity is taken away from the interview process, and the humanity is taken away from the job search process and just the interview process and everything. Because like, I'll give an example. I've had 4 different job interviews this past week.
Yeah, the hell, huh?
Yep. Out of the 4 job interviews I had this past week, 3 were over the phone. Only 1 was in person.
And then they make it seem like you getting that second phone call interview.
Yeah, it's like a big deal. Like, it's like, oh, I have good
celebration.
news for you. It's not that you got the job, but we want you to come in for an in-person interview. It's like, why is the in-person one good news? Like, why is it that I
It
have to
should be
go through a
that
virtual phone, and then in person?
yeah.
And then the hiring process takes. I applied for these jobs in the beginning of January. It is now February 17.
That's crazy.
So literally the job search and interview process alone has taken a month and a half. Who has time to wait a month and a half when bills don't stop for nobody? People still coming for their payments. They want you to pay their phone
Rent's
bills.
due every
They
single day.
Yeah, exactly. So they still want you to pay for your rent, still want you to pay for your phone bills, they still want you to pay all your stuff. But they make these processes for getting jobs, and even like being in a business where you provide services for clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then having to go through these call lists, and like companies like Thumbtack and Angie just taking advantage of the small businesses and small like sole proprietors that are trying to make ends meet, trying to make things work, spending like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on leads that end up being dead or end up being scams.
And thank God for Lisa, because, man, if she wasn't so savvy on knowing how to address all of it, man.
I'm just saying, like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how they're all like, oh, you just have to pay $20 for this lead and we'll give you their contact information. If you get the job, hooray for you. If you don't get the job, well, we still want your $20. Like, no, fuck you. I didn't even get the job. Why would I give you $20? You didn't even help me get that lead. All you did was provide information. So I have to pay $20 for one person's information? No, if I'm going to pay $20, I want 20 people on that list. I want 30
Exactly.
people on that list. I want 40
And you
people
get
on that
paid
list.
at the back end of it. You get your payment after.
Right. If I land the job, you can get your money.
Yeah, that's
If
the
I
way
don't
that
land the
works. That's the
job,
way a team works.
exactly. But that just goes back to the side hustle trap that a lot of these big freaking organizations prey on these sole proprietors that are just trying to make ends
All
meet.
I gotta say is I'm so glad I grew up doing yate, where it entails in person. Like,
right.
thank God, thank God, thank God, because, and sorry to interrupt, but I just didn't want to forget. But my father and my mother working growing up, and they wanted us not to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like me looking back now,
That's
I'm
what saved your life. Well, not saved your life,
no,
but
it is. I mean, the interaction with human people in general, whether it's a job or just everyday life, like, is very important. That's what we are designed to do.
right.
Not no virtual, not like it will be right back.
Hi.
It's in the game.
EA Sports.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, but to your point, like that just adds to the whole, like, when you call a company to get customer service, for example, IRS. I have been calling IRS for my tax stuff, but I can never get a person on the phone to help answer my questions. Instead, they say, please go to our website, irs.gov, in order to find the answers to your questions. Or if you would like, go download our app, irs2go, and find out more information on your taxes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message us on our app or message us on our contacts. Like, I don't want a freaking message. I don't want like an email response. I want to talk to an actual person. Or even with the, like, oh, another example, Kite, where they don't even have a phone number that you can call in order to get the service or the help that you are needing. Instead, you have to send them a message for someone to call you. And then when you call that number back, it goes, we're sorry, this number is not blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what the freaking heck? And I feel like because the digital world has become so accessible, but at the same time so easy for people to hide behind,
Oh yeah,
people are using it to their advantage. Companies are
hella,
using it to their advantage
super,
to swindle other people, to swindle the
super.
consumers. These companies are using it to swindle the consumers and then hide behind the digital wall that protects them always.
Yeah,
Always protects them, because there's nothing that you can do. You can't go up to a person, like, it's not like I can transport myself into the online world and go into the computer and punch them in the face for treating me like shit in the first place. You know what I mean? I mean, not that I would
but do
do
you
that.
really
I'm not
want to
a
do that in
fighter.
real life?
Not that I would do that. I'm not a fighter whatsoever. I'm the
Oh
person
yeah,
that will cry before
Bella
anything
girl. No,
else.
just kidding.
I'm not a fighter, guys, I promise. But there's companies that take advantage of the consumer and hide behind this digital wall, and they create this trap for everybody. And it's not like you can do anything to fight it. Like, there's some people where like on Lyft rides that I've taken, where I've asked them, like, is there any way that, like, you guys band together, because they're like, oh yeah, we only make like $2 or $3 off of this ride because Lyft takes the rest of the money. And it's like, well, haven't you like met with other Lyft drivers to try to fight that, to see if they can increase it? Or, and they're like, oh no, it's just kind of, that's the policy, and so that's what we follow. It's like there's not really anything that we can do about it. Everything is online. And so it's like, why is it that because everything is online, there's not really anything to do about it? Because I feel that way too myself. Like I feel so helpless and taking advantage of because of these online systems that are being set up. And there's the way that it's marketed is that, oh, this is being more online and having everything accessible online is to help set you up for success. But really, these online systems are set up to take advantage of consumers.
Oh, for sure. One
It's set up for
thou.
success for businesses. It is not set up for success. It's set up for success for businesses. It's not set up for success for consumers.
Not at all.
We get sucked into this
They just, yeah.
we get sucked into this trap. It's taken window shopping online to where it's become like a doom scroll kind of thing, to where we're wanting to take in all this stuff and try everything, try all the it's like being a kid in the candy shop. You just want to go have your hand in all the jars and try all the candy that's in there because it's available to you. And then you don't realize at the end you're like, "Oh, I have this horrible stomach ache." But it's from like just trying everything, and then all of a sudden you end up with this like huge subscription bill, or you end up with like a subscription you didn't even realize that you had signed up for in the first place, and then you're being charged all this money for it, and it's like, what the freaking heck? And then trying to, especially with banks and refunds, not just banks but companies and refunds,
No,
it's like,
no. I mean,
oh,
banks especially.
we've refunded this to you, and then when you call your bank, it's like, oh, the company has not released a hold on this, or oh, you'll have to wait, our processing time takes 3 to 5 days. Well, why doesn't your processing time apply to me when I want to pay my bill? Why doesn't your processing time apply to when, so why don't you take 3 days to take the money from my account when I pay for a service, or when
Right.
I pay for an item, or when I pay for something? Why are you taking the money in my account for something I haven't received yet, and then I have to fight tooth and nail to get my refund back, to get my money back?
Right.
Why do you get to take my hard-earned money so freely, but I have to fight tooth and nail in order to make sure that I'm receiving the service that I'm paying for, or receiving the item that I'm paying for?
And you're using the bank to also be the shield to help you when it, try to get the money back.
Right, because the banks will always play like a mediator, but they'll always side more so with the business because they obviously get more money from the business versus the consumer or the customer. And so we see that because of these side hustle traps, because of this whole, I guess, dismantling of the American dream or revising of the American dream, one of the questions that has been asked is the middle class disappearing? Because if you look at like surveys and statistics that are done by like these economic pages, over 50% of Americans in the middle class bracket feel financially strained. Like even the middle class themselves don't even feel like they are comfortable enough to be able to live without having to going through all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And so not only that, that's a huge number. Over 50% feel financially strained. And there's so many people that are trying to look for alternative ways of living because they can't even afford to live in an apartment at least, or be able to live in a place where they can have
Some kind of
comfortability,
stability, yeah.
stability. Yeah, exactly. And so they have financial anxiety because they're worried about, oh, what if my water bill is going to get turned off? Oh, when is my power going to get turned off because I haven't been able to pay my bill? You know what I mean? And so just the anxiousness from not being able to make ends meet, or like even with insurance, like, oh, I didn't even get to make my insurance payments this month, and they're going to raise my deductibles or whatever it is, and just the rising cost of essential services, but the wages are staying the same. The way we make money is staying the same. There's no way of like progress, or there's no like services that are being provided to help people either find jobs, build up their businesses quicker, or whatever it is. And so when it comes to financial struggles, like who actually benefits from financial struggles? Because rising income, there's no equality when it comes to rising incomes. Very, very few people get raises. Sorry. It's like feedbacking. Try to. There we go. Very few people get raises. Very few people. How often do you think that
Well,
people's
how hard do you
income?
have to work to get a raise?
Exactly.
Should be the
Exactly.
question.
Exactly.
Or how
There's
many amount of years should you do you have to wait? But
right, because some people they're like, "Oh, after a year you get a 25% raise."
yeah,
It's like, "Okay, that's all going to taxes." That whole 25 cents extra is going to taxes. And so this rising income equality, it's transferring the wealth to these higher income households. So it's not even like the middle class that's benefiting from it. It's the higher class that's benefiting from it. The people that are making like these like six figures or whatever because they don't feel the impacts of economic stagnation. They don't feel the impacts of wages not rising
mm,
because their wages keep rising. But because their wages rise, what happens is everybody who's here in the middle class or in the working class, their wages stay the same because the upper class, their wages are rising. And how is that even fair? I understand like yes, they have like the higher title or whatever, but a title is just a title at the end of the day. To be honest, I feel a title is just a title at the end of the day. It's not them that's doing a lot of the hard labor that's going into making their company successful. It's the working class that is making the company successful. But we don't treat the working class as good as we treat the directors and the
directors.
managers and the supervisors. They get put on these silver platters while the working class gets treated like shit.
Yeah.
And they keep getting the same wages and they keep being put, which is why I say that the whole system is rigged for you to just it's almost like a circus. Like just feed the monkey enough so that they dance. Feed the monkey enough so that they dance. You know what I mean?
But pretty soon those monkeys will be tired of dancing.
Exactly. They're gonna be tired of dancing for 5 bananas. They're gonna want 6 bananas. They want 7 bananas now. And so it's kind of one of those things where like these policies that these companies have done, not the government, but like businesses have led to wage suppression. It's not like you can go in and bargain your way for a higher wage when you're already working for the company. And then if you do decide to quit, do you even did you even make enough to be able to build substantial savings to hold you down until like you're able to find another job? So the working class has benefited the wealthy extremely, but the working class has not benefited from these companies and organizations that hire them on to do the work, but are not getting paid sufficiently for doing the work. And that's where the financial anxiety comes from. That's where the financial struggles come from. It's because there is an inequality when it comes to the amount of work we expect from people and how much we're willing to pay them for the work that they're doing. And that's all we're asking. Like, that's all that's needed in order to make the American dream successful. In order for the success of the American dream to come back into play, is to give people what they are worth. If you're going to raise the cost of houses, you better raise the cost of their wages or give them more hours or whatever it is to help them be more sustained, to help them be more on their feet, to provide that stability for us. And so the new American dream that has been kind of thrown around there in a way because the traditional success markers of like owning a home and making a certain amount of money or being in a certain industry or going to school for this amount of time in order to work in this certain industry, a lot of that has become less attainable. There's been like different surveys that have been done where they ask college students 5 years after they graduate, like, oh, are you working in the field that you graduated in? And they're all like, No, I graduated in marketing, but I'm a school teacher. Oh no, I graduated in accounting, but I couldn't get in. I'm still trying to get into an accounting firm, and so right now I'm just kind of managing Best Buy right now until that happens. And so the new priorities for a lot of people is financial stability. How sad is that? These are the new, like, according to like the surveys, this is all that they want from the American dream right now. Financial stability, personal fulfillment, work-life balance. Because people feel like they work way too damn hard and don't get rewarded enough for the work that they do. That is so sad how the American dream went from moving up, being able to move up in society and being able to own a home to I just want to be financially stable. I just want to be fulfilled in my life. I just want to be able to enjoy my life and work at the same time. That's so sad that the standards have lowered for the American dream.
Yeah. It's crazy.
What the freaking heck? We got to do better. As Americans, we need to do better. People who are born in this country deserve better than that. People who are born and raised in America deserve to not just want to be financially stable, to not just want to be
Or
personally
for
fulfilled.
any country. Even,
Well, I'm just talking about the American dream in general, because that's what people come to America for.
maybe.
People come to America in order to move up in society and to own homes and to enjoy freedom.
I don't know about this day and time, but yeah. Once upon a time it was.
Yeah, once upon a time. But I'm saying, like, it's so sad
That's how
that
it was for
our
my
standards have lowered.
My generation, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all Twitter niggas now, but
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, the fact that those standards have lowered is unfortunate. And as Americans, as a community, we should do better, be better. But what do we need to do that? So we want to hear from you guys. What is it that you think that needs to happen in order to make the American dream, the original American dream, a reality for everybody and not just the upper class or upper echelons of society? What are your thoughts? Let us know. Follow us on all of our social media to let us know in the comments or whatever it is. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on bringing back the original American dream and raising the standard on our way of living as Americans? Tell us your thoughts. Let us know what you think. Sassy, got anything else to add?
no, that's it. Let us know, man. We're on all social media platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Halaban, Jelagan, and Falavan. We're on all the gun.
Follow us on our socials. You can find us at From the Gate on all social media platforms. Check out our website, FromDaGate.com. I'm your host, Lisi.
Success.
Deuces.
Gia.